team that all year long has been talked about. The next step for the SPL. They've taken games off SPL teams. This is now their toughest task. We'll see if Hex Mambo can strike first, or the Oni Warriors going to dash their dreams in game one with Hindu Man and Mifflin.
Sounded so depressed. It was with me. Thanks very much, Dave. Yes, it is me and Mifflin on the call between the set of Oni Warriors and Hex Mambo start fighting, and maybe Ikram again. Well, sorry, Johnny again, I should say. Didn't miss the slash, but the ring toss secured a few of the camps, and now the pressure is to the right-hand side. Blue buff.
Blue buff invade looked at Johnny on the rotation in, but it's Deathwalker over the wall. Does confirm his own blue. But what about the chase?
Johnny is wrapping around the side as the pluck onto Cubo Fred is good. The Kraken, though, onto Trickstank is even better. And Dardes gets first blood for the Oni Warriors here. Johnny still hanging around in lane, looking for an avenue if it was there.
Pretty difficult to deal with as well. Primal is when you're getting ready for fire, and it's a bit early for that.
Vogue getting aggressive here, looking for a purple buff. We'll need some support from
Johnny.
Neil Mar as Trickstank and Ikram try and do battle, but Vogue actually gets a good field to love off onto Ikram. Johnny Sonic Boom gets him in range enough to focus onto Vogue, but in comes Dardes and Cubo Fred, and Dardes gets credit for the kill onto Johnny. Ikram can only watch on as his teammate rotates in and dies, and the chase is now on for Ikram. They know he's got no beads, they know he's got no Aegis, and guess what? He's got no life. On landing, Trickstank is waiting, but he can't find the pluck again to pull one into tower. Oni Warriors are starting to pull away with this game.
The Warriors are just grouping way harder. The Hex Mambo
job of staying ahead in levels, even though that's the case.
Just has been able to sit in his lane, TPN if he needs to. Ikram, he's got his relics.
And it was a very good ultimate Sonic Boom onto Vote from Johnny, and Vote's in a ton of trouble here. Not enough to bring him down just yet. Johnny gets the kill, Fields Love connects, followed by the sash out of Cubo Fred. Blinking from Trickshank, trying to help out his jungler, but Johnny will end up falling down here. Rotation now coming in from Zeros 2. Trickshank flicks Neil Mar into the waiting clutches of his carries, and it's a 2-for-1 in favor of the Warriors so far.
Zero's finally able to start rotating towards some of these team fights. Mambo. I think that really is just around your mid laner. It's no longer a liability in the early. Certainly not as strong as Poseidon just yet, but we're starting to get to the point where Zeros can get involved.
Zeros, he could be in danger here as Cubo Fred and Dardes combine!
Not like that.
And the sash stops the Aegis from being used there from Zeros and confirms another kill. And I think that's always a pressure point for Hex Mambo to be exploited against Poseidon because of that Whirlpool combination of just crippling him out, forcing the Fearless is unable to be used. Zero's being looked at again, pulled into danger. Beads as he was pulled into the air. Cubo saw it, and Cubo connects with the Windfire Wheels once more. 160 a hit with Nika there for landing. Another kill onto Zeros, and the Pyromancer could be an option. Meanwhile, Deathwalker trying to keep the pressure rolling somewhere.
Get there? No ultimate? Won't have an easy time getting out.
So the dance is going to begin around the FG at 20 minutes in. Then Cubo Fred back from base once more. No beads or ultimate available just yet. Johnny, meanwhile, will do a bit of split pushing on this left-hand side. He'll want to come to the fight late, and Warriors recognizing this are going to go and commit. Blinking from Deathwalker to the back, looking towards Vote. Fields of Love did a little bit to zone him away as the Fire Giant goes the Oni Warriors' way. Trickstank falls, Deathwalker falls, the tanks are dead, and Warriors can start to march down mid lane.
You can't have Johnny on the left side of the map there. The second the Oni Warriors see him on wave, so instead it's deal with the front line. And when you look at how Ikram's itemized, he can deal with the front line pretty quick.
Frenzy popped early, in goes Deathwalker, gets the beats out of Vote as the field loves drop. The Kraken goes out, but Mambo gets the Fire Giant, a Kraken early again. Cubo Fred gets his ultimate off on his buddy Trickstank, but the beads blocks it. The good news is Vote has found Ikram, and Cubo Fred finds Trickstank. Only 2 members of Mambo have the FG, and they are bravely running away as the Warriors will head for this Phoenix in mid lane. Can they end with a 5-stack here against these two? I think they could. They don't have minions though, Myth.
Everybody's so healthy on the Oni Warriors. Phoenix will take a little while. No Fire Giant.
No ultimates up.
Neil's healthy. He can tank this Titan nearly indefinitely.
Warriors are trying to do this pre-30, then they stare at Zeros and Johnny. Johnny has that Sonic Boom charge, but what can they do is Zeros gets pulled back in by Neil Mar. The Titan is the focal point from the Oni Warriors, and they are going to take game 1 after taking out Johnny and Zeros at the end. Less than 28 minutes in the game.
Get out of control if you lose both game 1 and game 2. Hex Mambo need to avoid it. Oni Warriors, they're playing lights out. We'll see if we're all tied up or the Oni Warriors get a 2-0 lead with Hindu Man and Mifflin.
It was a bit more energetic. Myth, pick some bands then. You were cringing your face up something rotten. What was that about?
Oh, I didn't.
Well, one thing in favor of the Mambo are here is if they do the Gold Fury like they did in Game 1, they've got better damage output with Trix Tank on this Fafnir. And look at this. They're trying to go all in on Neil, and the CC chain is beautiful as Trix Tank secures not only the stun on landing, the stun after the fact, and the breath is good. In credit, though, Ecrom did a lot of work there to allow that to happen too.
Book of Thoth out of the jungle.
Neil could be in trouble now because all of a sudden he realizes Ecrom's here and Johnny and Zero's on the rotation for him. They saw Neil consume the dash as he went through the red buff, and as soon as they see that, Hex Mambo collapse, and Neilmar gets picked off relatively at ease for Mambo there.
Yeah, Neil's just got to dial it back. The timing of these picks as well, just not ideal. Both times now falls down. Purple spawns, Ecrom gets it this time.
However, only 8 minutes in, it's pretty detrimental. Cuvo, though, needs to be careful. Trix sniffs out the danger of the jungle. Johnny can't find the damage as much as he wanted to, but the hammer from Trix really forced the pressure onto Cuvo, who's going to run for his life. Dardes whiffs the air with that Kraken, and his collapse to try and support his teammate that was out of position could be in trouble too. Good old Nika to the rescue won't be enough, though, to keep Dardes alive. And now Nika could be under pressure as Trix Tank, and with the rotation from Johnny coming around the back too, it's Mambo's turn to get a huge lead in this game in the early stages. We might just have a series between these two.
Man, the Warriors, they're playing as a team right now. It's Cuvo Fred caught out, and the entirety of the squad say,
so
you're not
game
getting
one. But it's a much better position to be in the Chronos pick here as 10 minutes now approach. When do you go for the Gold Fury here if you're Mambo, though? That's where you're looking to try and extend the lead, right? You've got the Fafnir anyway, the Hebo in tow. Maybe it's after getting Neil in mid lane after a great knockup.
Man, Neil just can't find his footing in this one. I agree. Yeah, this would be a good time. You don't necessarily need to go for Gold Fury. I think Pyromancer a bit easier.
Are you saying that just because they went right? But there is a ward down for any Warriors out there, Greater Scorpion, for safety. Still no Pyro looked at, but Cuvo Fred might find a bit of action here against Ecrom. Vote doing a good job of baiting this fight out. Takes a good trade overall. Ecrom's backflip is good, but it's not good enough to get away from Cuvo, and that's a defensive to purple buff 2, as Cuvo makes a good rotation to duo to support Vote, who
does beat out Kraken, but even then Kraken's so low range that he would have to put himself in danger to look for a steal as
Cripple connects on Ecrom, and Ecrom under a lot of pressure. The dash in from Vote. If the dash was still up, it would have been a different story. But Cuvo Fred was in the wings, and the ultimate will be good enough. One more hit'll do it as Cuvo Fred secures the kill. And Trix Tank can't bring down Cuvo Fred in response there. Has to watch as Ecrom falls again. Just trying to place a ward, man.
Man, Fred found his lane. He found where he needs to be if he wants to see very shortly. We've got the blink available. That burst potential is there that we were talking about earlier. And Zero's got Poly. Could be good.
I was about to say who's the target, but Dardes just found the target. Blinking from Johnny now. He avoids the slug, and the chase is on as the water hands connect from Johnny. Really clean kill, and there's nothing Dardes can really do. Like, you didn't see him use his beads or Aegis because he knew he wasn't escaping.
Yeah, even if you Aegis...
Pressure on from Cuvo Fred, who's kind of been zoned onto this left-hand side. Worried about the pressure onto Vote at the moment. Chrome and Vote going to go at it for a second or two. Chrome really misplayed that with the dash in, but will it be brutal for him? It will now as Cuvo Fred's in, but so is Johnny. And Johnny and Vote both going to fall down as the rotations come through. The carry stuck a trade that cost them both their lives. Now it's Cuvo Fred under threat, but not a whole ton of damage. Really came through there onto Cuvo Fred, who will survive that engagement.
Yeah, Johnny playing very patiently around. You can't let any more go. It is starting to really veer out of control.
Oh, Neil takes half his health, but watch out for Cuvo around the back looking for Zeros there. Kraken comes through too. Zeros gets the Beacons Aegis off to stay alive as long as possible. Dardes still gets hold of Zeros though, and immediately the Warriors run away as Deathwalker gives the chase. He roots onto 2. Guan Yu for some peel to help out and sustain. Neil still running and will get escape. Dardes, a different story. The meaty cleaver of Deathwalker's hand will bring him down. And Nika has to limp back to his tier 2 tower. 4 members strong here. Mambo may look towards his FG.
Johnny still has ultimate. No Kraken for the only Warriors, at least for 40 seconds. Means best confirmation is on Mambo. It's Trix taking first.
And beats down on Vote. The follow-up damage is pretty solid from Ecrom, but if he's following up with damage, no one's doing the Fire Giant, which is then reset. So the presence of the Warriors there.
Damage. Massive burst, but putting yourself in that position is going to be difficult.
Mambo with a trebuchet pushing down the right-hand side will commit to the FG. It's bursting down quickly, below half health already. Quick reset out of Mambo though. Trix still going to hold it, but the team is just waiting patiently. Deathwalker zoning away. Looks for the carries in the back. Eats a Kraken, loses his life, but the FG goes the way of Mambo. Trix Tank now on the run. Chrome needs to watch his position and dashes away. Cuvo looking at Johnny, who blinks away from the danger area. 4 members of Mambo with the FG. They lose just slowly watching this get whittled down.
Fire Giant burning quick. Execution range. Hex Mambo take it for themselves. The Oni Warriors, it's not time to fight anymore. You got to get out.
Run for your lives, boys, because Deathwalker's here, and a great knockback actually prevents Neil from hitting everybody. Kraken was a party Kraken to celebrate the victory of Mambo here. Nika will take out Echrome, who split from his team. Trickstank now jumping in with Johnny to secure the kill on Dardes. Cubo will next fall. And finally, it's Nika left alone with his Titan and Phoenixes to try and weather the storm of the 4-man army. Mambo are going to be tying this up 1-1 by the looks of it. And that was relatively strange for me to see them all watch the FG go down and then get caught on the run back.
I think they were just caught unaware by that burn potential. The Chronos, it's Zero staring at it, it's burning slowly, and then Zero says, oh, it's half? 2 auto attacks, and it's down to a quarter. From there, easy confirmation from the water cannon. Hex Mambo absolutely outpaced the Oni Warriors here in Game 2, an inverse of Game 1, and with a composition that is not necessarily built for it.
More of an influence on the game. Now, it's still Baba Yaga out of mid-Trelly, but if you're getting active, you're talking about maybe an easier time for Zeros to get spun up over in the mid lane. Tiebreaker, game number 3, Hex Mambo, Oni Warriors. This is a big one, and Hindu Man and Mifflin will take you through it.
Yes, we will. Game 3 in a best of 5. One of my favorites, Mifflin, because this one generally gives you the idea of who's going to win.
Wow.
Yep,
That's
what I bring.
10 years, huh?
Marginal, there's no kills so far. No real surprise at 5 minutes in. I mean, with this style of composition, though, it's a little bit more even, I want to say, in terms of fight potential. As the Sonic Boom came through from Johnny, Nika avoided it, but he won't avoid the ultimate follow-up damage from Johnny too. Hex Mambo find the first kill on the solo laner.
Johnny's just the homie for Deathwalker, confirming the blue bus for him, defending on his own, now rotating.
And that forces the Warriors to surrender control of the scroll lane.
So Hex Mambo maintain pressure on
Johnny
the left.
on the tower, but he will get away with it, and Deathwalker gets credit for the kill. Johnny ganks again onto Nika in the solo lane.
We've seen Mercury answers before in the past. I think it was Barracuda that essentially coined the "I'll ward" from the Oni Warriors. No?
No.
Have I mistaken?
The blue appeared. Sorry, the red appeared. Just to show it was. Trickstank, though, under pressure, and now has to use the look in the waters. Landfall will prevent the escape, and that's the worst situation. Neil didn't drop the landfall wall, and sometimes people underestimate just how impactful that can be. Neil, though, too busy milking to help out against Echrome there. His vote took a ton of damage
to some significant power spikes for Cuvo Fred. Once he finishes up that heavy mace, he'll have pretty decent burn potential.
Sonic Boom connects again, throws him back into Deathwalker. Silence connects, good stun from Nika. Tries to buy time for his ultimate. Johnny covers the option, didn't even go through, and that is a tier 1 tower on the right-hand side. Meanwhile, though, Warriors making a very good call here to commit to the Fury straight after.
Kalina, one of her primary strengths is the ability to burn those objectives. That Veil just really makes short work of them. So the Oni Warriors take the Gold Fury, the classic ranked call. 2 in my lane, do something somewhere else, and they do. The Oni Warriors make them pay.
Uh-oh, Vote in trouble here against Echrome. Echrome going to take the trade. Doesn't find a very good ultimate himself, though, but the chase is still on with Trickstank following up. So is Neilmo. What can Neil do to prevent his Vote from dying? Vote trying to live as long as he can, but Trix will secure. Neilmo still around, has Cubo in backup as Trickstank pulled under the tower for a second. Small mistakes by both there. Vote very aggressive. Cubo Fred, though, has found a window for some farm. It's the red buff of the Hex Mambo on the left-hand side. Johnny, annoyed by that situation, is going to try and commit. Cubo can't get in the wall in time, and Johnny gets credit for the kill, but at least he got the red buff.
I think you just got into that damage threshold a bit too early. The Oni Warriors have to slow it down. You can't leave it to a coin toss. You have to get in there and stop Mambo.
Well, Neil's going to try and look for it if he can with Nika, but it's not going to be an option for them. Neil now zoned out by Zeros' house. And then the all-in engage onto Neil's there. He won't be able to leap over the wall, but he will get around the corner. But Johnny's fists are too powerful for Maui to survive, and now it's onto a tier 1 in mid.
So you're telling me it's an ahead Johnny on Mercury, one of his signature picks, has got the rage stacked up now.
Lead these carries on the right-hand side and just wait, be patient, allow Deathwalker to get to that left-hand Phoenix. And find out who turns up. It's going to be Cubo Fred that does, but he's losing this trade so far. Aegis and Sonic Boom used by Johnny. All focus on Cubo Fred, who falls. Deathwalker tanked up the entirety of that Phoenix, and now it's a 4v5.
What a well-executed siege. That is beautiful from Deathwalker and Johnny together. Cubo Fred can't be predicting that, and there's no counterplay once you've already used the Aegis. Just a sitting duck. Nearly returns the damage enough that Nika could have rotated through and turned it around, but it just happens way too quick. Left side, Phoenix falls, and Mambo's not letting off the gas.
Darda's looking for a good ultimate if he can to get the damage onto Chrome and zone him away. Deathwalker in there again. The regen coming through. Has to drop the Phoenix. Johnny gets the kill on Dardes. Soon afterwards, the chase is now on to Neil, who'll buy a bit of time. A shutdown as we do get a second kill of the game there. Nika finds one, but now it's only Vote up against 4 members of Mambo. We're going to a game 4 match point with Mambo just 1 game away from making it to SWC in place of the Oni Warriors.
Hex Mambo burn it quickly, and it's a concise battle through and through. Keep it interesting with some damage, but the Titan will not survive, not for a moment longer. It is just all soul lane pressure. Deathwalker with a 4-level lead will control the map. Johnny, give it a 4-level
definitely look to try and find some aggression with your crushing wave, try and get that Hebo online early on, and then your late game looks a lot better. It's still these double hunters you want to try and limit, and I think Mambo know that.
How nervous are you?
Me? I'm not playing. I'm
Oh,
not
I'm
nervous
terrified.
at all.
Oh, God. Should I not be?
No,
I need to talk to somebody.
this is a very
about that.
low stake. We already have our ticket to
Look at the
Worlds. We're
farm.
good.
Hex Mambo's not suffering. They're even slightly ahead.
Well, left-hand side, Purple Buff invade with 3 tricks. From there on defense as
Oh.
Dardas gets left 1v1 in mid lane.
Big whiff.
He's going to survive at the tail end of this. Johnny going to commit and find the kill, but he'll trade his life in doing so. Good, worthwhile or no?
Well, you got first blood,
Yeah.
so worthwhile, I think. Maybe not necessary. That whiffed water cannon, that really cost him. Had he just been a bit slower on it, use the water carpet first, probably gets in range without having to trade out. But once you're there, you have to be concerned about a counter rotation. Fred and Vote benefit from that penetration. Could be the way in. Kin size in first slot certainly fine as well. So you can't really go wrong.
Deathwalker's in a world of
Stuck.
hurt and pinned in place thanks to the help of some minions too. Nika and Cubo combine. Turn around is fair play, says Cubo and Nika towards Hex Mambo solo laner. As the left-hand side of the map now, you can see Johnny.
The Oni Warriors.
Oh, we saw
Once
that
more,
Ymir
keep it
base, I
even.
think. And I think Echrome needs to know he's got Neilmar now rotating into the lane. Has the Bifrost pulled out of the Bifrost for the time being. Echrome trying to get back to it, and the damage is solid. Not enough for a kill yet, but Echrome not out of danger. Landfall is available for Maui if he wants to go for it.
Dodges
Won't
it.
find it. The ultimate used, followed by the damage from the Wild Hunt, but just
turnaround.
in time, Johnny blinks on scene, destroys Vote, and forces Neil to his tier 1 tower. Just a little delay from the Warriors there. They could have found the kill, and now they're on the run. Dardes and Cubo both now being chased down. Bit of peel option available for him, though, with just that knock-up coming through from Cubo Fred, but a huge pick for Johnny on the left-hand side.
So much respect for Echrome for standing his ground there as well. So easy to fall in the trapping of, I need to escape. This is a bad situation. I've
Neil
already
needs
used
to
my
escape.
relics.
He's got no relics. Well, he does have his relics. He's only the shell at this stage of the moment. We'll leap over the wall, try and bite him. Oh, the head fake! But he went back over anyway, and now he's trapped in a pit with 4. What can the rest of his team do with that 4-man rotation? No, not a whole lot. Deathwalker's a little bit greedy on this right-hand side, does have his ultimate available. Needs to be careful because actually he's going to rotate between the middle tier 1 and tier 2 tower back to his team. He might need some help, but this could be actually turn into a bait because the rest of the Mambo are on the way. But Tricks,
I can't believe we're even talking about it.
Chrome might be in trouble here. Or it could be Neil getting baited again because Johnny's around the corner and Neil getting aggressive, looking for the pick on Chrome. Watch out for Johnny. Vote's not seeing it either.
Again?
Vote will feel it though as Johnny hits the back of his head. The Darkest of Nights will buy him time. Johnny can just walk this down with speed buff. 1 spout should be enough. All the while, Neil is going to get soloed down by Echrome by the split difference. And just the timing caused the biggest mistake there for the Warriors.
It's just such a safe pick. Heimdall is so difficult to shut down, but the Oni
instead.
Warriors.
Hex Mambo, though, now on a tier 2 tower on the left-hand side, and there is no response available from the Warriors at the moment. Zeros now versus Dardes in mid in a 1v1.
No way.
Cancelled on it at 1v1 because Johnny's on scene again. Speed buff still in tow. Has to watch out for Kivo. Didn't know Kivo was there. Maybe Johnny dies for that, unless Zeros can help him. The stun's good, but it's not enough to persuade him. Blinking him from Nika, who gets frozen by Tricks. Zeros gets kill on Fred, and Johnny survives with his life.
Just an absolutely miserable series of events for the Oni Warriors. Every time they are tantalizingly close. Side when ADCs rotate to fire, it's simple. That's an indication. Fire Giant, and it's going quick.
It is, but Neil's on scene, so is Nika. Nika blinks in early, looks for his ultimate to force some beads and does so. Landfall pulls it in, but Mambo get the Fire Giant.
Healthy.
Trix Tank not really under too much pressure just yet, as a good ultimate out from Deathwalker will stop Cubo Fred getting to the backline. Freeze connects onto Vote, forcing his beads defensively, but Vote versus Zeros is still going on. All the while, Johnny is just chasing people down. They find Dardes. Nika should be soon to fall. Maybe Minions get that one. Cubo Fred won't die to Minions, though it'll be to Hebo. 8-2. FG on 5 members of the Hex Mambo. And if you're a Warriors fan right now, you might be wanting to set your alarm clock for this set against Scarabs tomorrow.
Phoenix should fall down here. No way for the Oni Warriors to fight back into this one. It was just too healthy from Hex Mambo. Burned the Fire Giant too fast. The Oni Warriors decide,
Can they end?
Look, we can't let it happen. I don't think they end
They
here.
thought for a second. I saw that look on their faces. Instead, taking a bit of a safer but slightly dangerous option with a backdoor attempt on the left-hand Phoenix. Deathwalker will take a ton of damage. Not enough just yet to kill him. Who's going to get the aggro after the fact? It was E-Chrome. But it still won't matter. Left-hand Phoenix now down at 2. But every time they tried, Johnny was there again. And Johnny is stepping up. Darkest of Nights used by Dardes as Cubo tried to jump into the backside there and cause some problems. Now he's going to get zoned away. Still has a bit of immunity available to him as Deathwalker now going to push them back with his ultimate too. And the pulling onto Zeros is good. The rewind will come through. Trick still tanking up the Phoenix. No damage on that yet. Neil now falls. E-Chrome and Zero start to whittle down the Phoenix health bar to its final moment of death. And where do Mambo go now? Fire Giant still for another minute. Do they go in and end with that base coming through from Deathwalker? That could be a teleport in. Keep an eye on the man in a suit coming back into the fray. Doesn't have his ultimate available, but maybe the one to tank up this Titan.
Trix tank very low, but resustains quickly. Cubo Fred acting
He's
as
going to die
frontline.
so quick. There's no chance for the Warriors to defend. They're out. They're going back into play with Scarabs tomorrow.
They're not out.
And I mean, they're out today. And Hex Mambo are going to the World Championships as a European representative, maybe to join Ravens. It's going to